Law, I will be seeking for a resolution to appoint someone to serve as the presiding officer for this meeting, which will include chairing the meeting as well as signing the bylaws. For, oh, I need a resolution, somebody to appoint. I'm looking for nominations on who to appoint. Sorry.
I'll nominate Councillor Coleman.
Councillor Coleman, seconded. Is there any other nominations? Councillor Pierce?
Move to close.
Okay. Seconder to close. Councillor Simons, all in favor of closing nominations? Councillor Coleman, do you accept? Okay, then Councillor Coleman can assume the chair. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Call this meeting to order. Note attendance has been taken. Madam Clerk. And welcome to the mayor-elect. Mr. Bailey, sitting in the back. And two new councillors back there, I believe. Councillor Howes, Councillor McCuppine. Approval of agenda. Any additions?
And yes, in light of the fact it's a light agenda, I'd like to move to extend the time limit on our two delegations this evening. I think it's an opportunity for our youth to speak in public, and our library board has a very important announcement tonight that I think should take longer than 10 minutes because there could be questions for them. So I'm extending the 10-minute time limit on the delegations.
I have a seconder for that. Councillor Pierce. All those in favor? Carried. And we got to have pecuniaries declare at the appropriate time. Our first delegation, St. George Guiding. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Congratulations to those that have been reelected, and just a thank you from all of us in St. George to those that have served and are finishing up their terms, so congratulations to all. I'm sure you're relieved that the elections are over for now. So first of all, we want to say thank you to Brant County Council for the opportunity to come speak tonight. We'll try and keep it brief. We know you have important business to deal with. And we also want to say thank you for your investment in the youth leadership opportunities that this program has provided in our community in St. George. Tonight, we're just going to go through a quick presentation of our trip to the United Kingdom in July, but most importantly, we're going to give an opportunity for the girls themselves to speak about their experiences. So I really don't want to take this too much time here, so I was delegated by the girls the responsibility of going through the slide deck. If you have any questions, of course, please let us know. So for many of you, you would know our group from St. George. We took 9 girls to the United Kingdom in July 2018, and 2 leaders. My other leader, Carrie, tonight is at another meeting in Burlington. She works at the hospital managing the volunteers, and she had another meeting to attend to, so she sends her regrets. We want to give a special thank you to Councillor Wheat, especially for all his support and dedication to our program and to all of our events, whether he attended or worked at them or came to them or helped promote them. We all affectionately refer to him as Papa John, and we appreciated everything that he and Lois did to help us. So quickly, I just want to let you know that Girl Guides of Canada has a program, and Shirley is very familiar with this, Guider Shirley, in terms of our travel opportunities, both nationally and internationally, and it provides girls an opportunity to learn more about themselves and the world that we live in. It's considered a pinnacle for girls in their guiding career to have gone to at least one World Center before they are finished within the program. And so we received approval. You will maybe remember some of us went to Switzerland in 2016, and we got home, and then these girls said, well, where are you taking us, Guider Jen and Guider Carrie? And the planning began right away for them because they worked so hard to help the girls that went to Switzerland. So we selected 9 girls through an application process to participate and represent their community, their families, and Girl Guides of Canada. When you think about the return on investment, you all have very important decisions to make in terms of the limited resources that you have. I just want to highlight the investment that this program makes and the opportunity to travel, the dividends that it pays beyond just the St. George community. Many of these girls are involved in their student council leadership programs, school sports teams, part-time employment within our community. They've achieved different awards within the guiding program, Canada Accords, you name it. So they've really extended beyond just the guiding program to really be productive citizens within our community. And so we believe that return on investment is we're planting a seed for the future. Sorry, I'll just go back quickly. The other thing I wanted to highlight was we chose purposefully to be present in our community. By this we mean we did a lot of community service and leadership. The girls just didn't write a check. Their parents didn't just write a check. They spent a lot of time volunteering within our community and being visible. They volunteer with the Women's Institute every other Wednesday, helping with their program, and they work with the Lions Club. Many of you may have seen them at Westfield Village with the maple syrup days during March break. They worked with the Lions Club all through that. They've worked with the St. George Legion in the Remembrance Day programs and the Seniors Christmas program that the Legion does. They worked with the United Church in serving and helping, and also at Apple Fest. So very, very involved with community service, and that's apart from any volunteer hours that they require for high school. Our itinerary was very intensive, 2 weeks, July 5th to the 19th. They sold 872 cases of cookies as part of their commitment. That's a lot of time at Zares in Brantford or the Apple Fest or different places that they've been at here in Paris as well. So just in case you want to do your quick math, there's 12 boxes of cookies and a case of cookies. That's 10,464 boxes of cookies that these girls sold as part of their program. A lot of the program that focused on understanding culture, history, tradition, the role of women that in guiding, empowering them to do the things that they are looking to do later on in life. We visited both Scotland and England. A lot of the stuff also we worked on confidence, leadership, teamwork. With the whole 18 months before we left for our trip was all focused on teamwork, and not only our parents, but our girls as well. We worked really well as a team to achieve our goals, important life lessons. Our first stop was at Netherwood House, and that's in Scotland, about 45 minutes south of Edinburgh. And it is a lovely place. It is Scotland's guiding house in the country. We stayed there and did an awesome program, learned about Scottish culture, did some Highland games with our host Mark. And we had an opportunity to do a number of things within the program that Netherwood House has. This is a manor house from the 1600s. We also did a lot of work on physical challenges as well as teamwork challenges, high ropes. We did a lot of learning of their culture and really just kind of focusing on the sisterhood of guiding. It all started for us to go to Netherwood House back in July 2016. Carrie and I met Gail and Kirstine while we were in Switzerland, and we didn't even know that there was a Netherwood House. And so it was a really cool opportunity for the girls to understand how small our world really is. These two women introduced us to Netherwood House. That's how we went to this place, and we then reconnected with them while we were in Scotland. So it was neat for them to see that the guiding community is truly a global initiative. What I think one of the highlights the girls will say is we spent a great day with some Scottish Girl Guides from a community near ours, did a great program with them. We did the Forest Challenge badge. They learned that guiding is different in Scotland than it is here in Canada, in that they have a program that's 12 to 18. So they got to meet girls of all ages. They talked about music and guiding and all kinds of Canada. They're coming, apparently they want to come to Canada, the girls from Scotland. So they're looking forward to that. And then we traveled to London, England, and we went to Pax Lodge, which is one of the International World Centers. Here you can see us in front of Pax Lodge, and we all received our Pax Lodge pin, and we participated in some international programs while at Pax Lodge, and then used Pax Lodge as our base point from which we did some other programs within London. We met some other Girl Guides from Ireland while at Pax Lodge, and so, as well as some other Canadian Girl Guides. We did some different cultural opportunities while we were in London. And before I close, this is our crest that's on the map at Pax Lodge. So St. George is very prominently displayed, and we had our Brant County pins while we were with us all the time promoting Brant County. But I'd like to turn the podium over to the girls now to say a few words.
Hello, my name is Lauren Haley, and I was one of the 9 girls selected to go on this trip. You may or may not remember me. I was here 2 years ago doing a presentation like this for the Switzerland trip. So this was my second Girl Guide trip with St. George Guiding, and especially my mom, Jen. So even though I went as a girl on both trips, this trip I had a different role. I was the oldest of the 9 girls. So I played more of a role of a junior leader than I did as a girl. And it gave me a lot of opportunity to build my confidence in leading other people, being a middle ground, answering questions, and helping people when they're feeling maybe homesick or upset. And I think I really have brought those skills back to my community, whether it's playing on my school teams or being a leader in the classroom, at my part-time job, and even in St. George Guiding, leading programs and campfires. I'm known as the St. George Campfire Lady. It was really special for me to meet the Girl Guides in Scotland and seeing how they do guiding in different countries. That was really important to me because guiding is a big part of my life. And I will really cherish this trip. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to travel with these amazing girls and 2 amazing leaders, and I'd like to thank you for having us here tonight to tell us about it, tell you about our trip.
Hi, I'm Julia. I also went on the trip. So a lot of people took different things out of this, but one of the things that I especially took out of this was confidence. With my amazing leaders and the people we met, like Mark and Susan, it was really easy to kind of be myself and step out of my comfort zone doing more activities. 2 years ago, or even before, I was speak in front of anyone, but now I'm here. I found my voice, and its opportunity is great. Even seeing the work Jen and Carrie put into it with the planning and the organizing really inspires me. So the opportunity to get to bond with these girls, go on the trip, it really had a great effect on me, and because of this, I'd like to say thank you to you guys.
Hi, my name is Kaylin. First, I should start by saying thank you for supporting our trip this summer. I had a blast there, learning and exploring and making new memories with my friends. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, but I knew I learned a lot over this trip. For example, the teamwork and team building skills that we developed with each other before we left, and we're doing activities across the world like the Highland Games or the high ropes at Netherwood House, or the subway schedules. I had a chance of discovering a new place, making new friends with other girls like the Scottish Guides or the Ireland Guides, or even the leaders like Mark and Susan. And I learned about their experiences, which was very cool, and I'd just like to end by saying thank you.
I want to talk about my experience meeting the Scottish Girl Guides because I thought it was really fun, and it was getting out of my comfort zone and meeting new people. I really liked that we all could become friends and talk about like our experiences, and we were talking about what we did at school and how it was different, and also how their guiding is different than ours.
Hi, I'm Parker. A lot to do with what the other girls had said, but I have never been on a plane or never been away from my family or never traveled that far, so that was like a huge experience for me. And being able to travel across the world with my other family was another big experience. And then bonding and learning more about my sisters and learning more about the Scottish Girl Guides and just experiencing it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I want to say thank you.
So I would like to say I'm Amelia. I'm also John Wheat's granddaughter. And when I was on this trip, I went out of my comfort zone a lot, as Guider Jen and all these girls know. When we went to Netherwood House, we did high ropes, and I don't like heights. They're not my thing, but I did it anyways, and I conquered a lot of my fears. And so this trip just brought me out of my comfort zone, and I learned a lot of new things when I went on this trip, so thanks.
Hello, I'm Alexandra. I'm also one of the trip girls. I'm just very thankful to have gone on this trip. I think it was a fantastic opportunity to travel across the world and just build so many like team skills, collaboration skills, and also leadership. I think this has been a very important, very memorable experience for me. This entire journey was just so fantastic. Before the trip, there's just so much community involvement. We just met so many different people out in the community, and I'm just very thankful to have been able to take part in such an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
So as you can tell, we're very appreciative for all of your support. We have a thriving program in St. George, a guiding program from Sparks, which is 5 and 6-year-olds, all the way up to Rangers now, which is 15 to 17-year-olds. I also want to highlight that it's not just these girls that do community service, it's all of our guiding programs in Sparks, Brownies, Guides, Pathfinders, now Rangers, that do a lot of community service, and Councillor Wheat will speak to that, I'm sure, with the programs that we have. You won't know it, but these girls were extremely nervous tonight coming over in the car about speaking. I thought they did an excellent job with their speaking, so well done to them. And we have a scrapbook that perhaps Councillor Wheat can bring back after tonight. We'll leave this behind, that if you want to look at any of the trip pictures in more detail when you have a moment, we'll do that as well.
Before you take your seats, thank you very much for representing the County of Brant on your trip. I'm sure that you were well received, and I'm sure you were great ambassadors of the county. Questions? Councilor Simons.
Mr. Chair, it's not a question, it's a comment, if I may. At this time, on behalf of Girl Guides of Canada, I've been a member of Girl Guides for 35 years. I've done the trips to Switzerland, and I know the work that's involved in it. And kudos to you folks, and you've obviously built your self-esteem and your leadership skills, and it's so important in the world today that we're going into. So congratulations to all of you, especially for selling over 1,000 boxes of cookies. My goodness. Anyway, from me to you girls, best of luck in the future, and you got awesome leaders. Congratulations.
Councilor Wheat.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two things, being we got the library board here tonight, and this council puts money into our library system. I'm going to point somebody out, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but rarely do I go in the library and Parker isn't in the library.
Here we go.
There's an individual who's constantly using our library services. Thank you, Parker. Every once in a while, I put something on my desk and I keep it. I'm going to make a presentation because I've had this picture for 4 years, the whole length of this past term of council. And Kaylin Montmeyer, I have kept your picture on my desk for 4 years. I want you to have it for your scrapbook. That little girl went out and gathered up books and sold them and raised close to $1,000 on her own for the splash pad in St. George. Thank you, Kaylin.
Any more questions? Thank you very much. Well appreciated. Our next delegation, Fred Gladding and Marilyn Sewell.
Page down to go down here. Good evening, Councillor Coleman, rest of council. Today is a day of transitions, as the previous delegation pointed out. While I'm here, we've got a couple of big announcements to make and some information to share. But like you on council, our mandate as a library board ends with this sort of legislative season as well. So I can't come here tonight as chair of the County Library Board and not thank the County of Brant Council for all your support over the last 4 years and before. We, as a library system, have been trying very hard to stay ahead of the curve and be able to respond to the changes in our community, and we've come before you on a number of times with big asks, and you've supported us. And every library system in Ontario depends, for the most part, on their municipal grants to offer the service to their community. And I want to assure you that that was never lost on any of us on the library board. We really appreciated the support over the last 4 years. And when we were in front of you and you asked your hard questions, that helped us too. So we appreciated it all. And thank you again. Now, times of transition. I wasn't the first priority on tonight's agenda for the library, but events have transpired, and I'm going to take a few minutes to speak about my part, and then after I'm done, Marilyn Sewell, our chair of our site selection committee, is going to take the lion's share of our time and answer your questions, I hope very well, I know she can, about our recommended site for the new Paris Library. Times of transition. On your desk, we've left you our library press release that has come out this afternoon. And I'm not sure how much council was aware, but earlier in the summer, our CEO, Gay Kozak-Selby, informed the board that it was her intention to retire at the end of this calendar year. That was something I thought might happen, but you know, Gay is such a big part of our library system. To really hear Gay suggest that this was a possibility meant I had to imagine the library system without Gay there. And that was hard to do. She's been such a pillar of the place and has taken us so far. 15 years, right? 15 years as our CEO. When you think back 15 years ago, there were no iPhones. I don't think maybe Amazon was an idea in somebody's head. The world has changed a lot, and despite the big leaps in technology and in the marketplace, our library system has stayed relevant, valid, at the front of its game, leading edge, and there's a lot of people get credit for that, but I think the lady at the top deserves quite a bit of that too. And so it's been quite a run. So we wish Gay all the best in her retirement. She's with us till the end of this year, and we'll keep her busy right till the end. The second part of my announcement tonight is to tell you that the library board, upon hearing of Gay's intent to retire, commenced a recruitment process that ended successfully, and I can announce to today that the library board has hired Kelly Bernstein to be our next CEO, and Kelly's here, sitting back there beside Gay in the yellow sweater. Kelly is really excited to join us. Currently, she's the manager of library services for the region of Waterloo, and so she's just coming down the road a bit to be our library CEO in the county of Brant. So she's going to commence in early December, so Gay and Kelly will have a couple of weeks there to work together and do the handoff and the transition. So that's my news. And I'd like to, at this point, turn it over to Marilyn, if there are no questions or comments. Other than, you know what, I think it would be appropriate to give Gay a round of applause. I'd like, if you would care to acknowledge Gay for her effort, I think that would be I know Gay loves that sort of thing. All right, Marilyn, can I turn it over to you?
Okay, thank you, Brent.
Should I stick around?
Sure, sure. And I just up and down to move the slides, Heather? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I was pleased to be able to be the chair of the subcommittee from the library to work on the main site selection process. I'd also like to acknowledge several of our library board members and staff here tonight and appreciate the work that they did in bringing this to you tonight. So tonight we want to tell you a little bit about refresh your memory about the background of the work that we've been doing, inform you about our new preferred site, outline the public consultation process we undertook, talk to you a little bit about the partnerships that we envision, discuss the rationale for the decision that we made, and highlight some possible next steps. So, as a bit of background, the board received 2 studies in the past couple of years around the Paris Branch Library Facility Planning Study in 2016, and we made you aware of that through a presentation later that same year. As a board, we developed our strategic plan about a year and a bit ago, and part of that, of course, was speaking to the need of the future services for the library. We received the site selection study draft report in November of 2017 that outlined possible sites, and we created a main branch site subcommittee in January of 2018. So one of the questions that we needed to address, and we did this with all of our consultations, is why do we need a new main branch? And we needed to talk a bit about the fact that we need, as a main branch, to service the whole county library system. As you know, we have library branches in other parts of the county, and Paris was designated. The existing branch that we have now does not meet our current or our envisioned future needs. We are doing a lot of repairs, maintenance, just to keep the doors open, and it's certainly something that we needed to look further at. Our strategic plan looked at the fact that the library is constantly evolving and the future possibilities that we could see for the service of the branch. And we also know that we need to embrace new and flexible spaces and try to keep up with technology. We were reminded in our consultations that we'll never be ahead of technology, but at least try to keep up with the technology that's out there, because the library is one of the last few public spaces that anyone of any means can come and learn and understand the technology in front of them. We're a growing community, and we did talk about whether we like this or not. That's part of the facts that we're dealing with. And as society continues to move online, we think that there's more and more reasons to have real-time spaces and have opportunities and places for people to gather and be together. The site selection committee looked at 4 suggested sites that were brought to us, and it's important to note that the consultant was asked to give consideration to properties that are owned by the county as well as other private interests. So the sites were a greenfield project site out somewhere along Rest Acres Road. The sites B and C were in the Bucket Center redevelopment, the old town hall, either behind it or in front of it. The site D was at the Sillaps Community Center, and site E was along Willow Street in what we think is known as Penman's Park, the long narrow strip of land the other side of the bridge. Through our deliberations, the board agreed with our subcommittee proposal recommendation, and we recommended, and the County of Brant Public Library Board approved, that a location within the redevelopment of the Sillaps Community Center area be chosen as the preferred site for the Noonbane Branch Library in partnership with the County of Brant. The goals of our public consultation were many, and I think we should thank just put a little shout out the fact that we did this consultation without costing any money to the library system. We did this all in-house. So the subcommittee wanted to give information and facts. It wasn't just a simple tick some boxes off. We wanted to have some conversations and a two-way discussion because we needed to hear what people were thinking. We wanted participants to learn from each other and understand the various views that were out there, and also we stressed over again there was no need at any particular time for the group to come to agreement. We were just interested in hearing perspectives. And we also wanted to demonstrate that the library board was open and transparent, and that the process that we undertook was one that we could be proud of and the county could be proud of. So how did we try to reach the public? And just one of the points before I speak to the slide is I think we're at a real crossroads in our communication efforts. It wasn't all that long ago that you would have put an ad in the Brantford Expositor and you would have been assured that most people would have known what you were talking about. That no longer is the case. So we tried to blast as many ways as we could think of to make sure people knew. And there will be people, when the building is built, there will be people that will say, I didn't know anything about this, but we know that. So we put information at the circulation desks at the library. It was on the signs, on the doors. The staff were all well equipped to talk about it. We did press releases out and about to every place that we could. We're not in charge of who picks that up, but we know early on that the Air News did and the Expositor did. We had social media presence, and especially Facebook was our biggest social media platform. And I want to tell you that our data showed us that over 4,000 people viewed the posts, and almost 600 engaged in some way, shape, or form. So we know that the message was there. Did we reach everybody? Probably not. But did we do our best? Absolutely, we tried. So the process that we decided to do was 3 phases. We wanted to talk about the reason for the project, and that was back in April, and we had about 45 people out, and what we wanted to figure out that night or during those sessions was whether or not what the consultant was saying mirrored what the community wanted for their library. And we certainly came away knowing that we were both on the same page. We want a library that's functionable, but also is aspirational and also serves a wide variety of needs. We had an open invitation to the public to attend our annual meeting, and at that meeting we had a guest from Niagara-on-the-Lake, and they shared the trials and tribulations of their work in finding a new spot for their library. Our second phase was a design feature, and that one didn't go over. We advertised for people to come out and be creative in design. Maybe we were too soon, I don't know, but we didn't do that process because we had very limited participation in that. But we think there's opportunities going forward for that kind of interest. And our third phase was in September when we had 18 participants out, and we asked participants to provide feedback on our 2 preferred sites. One was at the Sill-Apps area and one was along Rest Acres Road. But we also learned during this process that we needed to be not necessarily equipped with tunnel vision. We needed to think broadly and be ready for opportunities that came along. And back in May, of course, you would know that the county began its consultation process on, called it the 3 Indoor Recreation Facilities Business Plan. And when we got wind of that opportunity, our staff and the county staff sat down and talked about what were some of the possibilities of partnership in redevelopment of the Sill-Apps area and perhaps at the Brant Sportsplex. And we also said, if we are thinking seriously at all about building on the Sill-Apps area, we need to have some understanding of what building on a floodplain is all about, because we know people would ask us that, and we needed to have at least some initial understanding of that. So the reason for our recommendation, or reasons, I think are all solid reasons in and of themselves. But first of all, the opportunity to partner with the county, I think, is really important to create a community hub that will serve a variety of ages and wide demographics. We understand the hopes are to have a permanent seniors center complex, a permanent youth area, a lot of other groups and ages coming together in that area, and the library just fits into that perspective so easily. It's going to be good to be able to share construction and maintenance costs. The community clearly demonstrated to us that they have a very strong desire to keep public institutions in the downtown core. There was lots of conversation around, I like to walk to the library. We understand and appreciate that, but what we felt was more important that people could, the walkability of a site, that people could still, by this site in the Sillaps area, could still walk to places across the river to do banking and retail and restaurants and other kinds of services, and still keep public institutions in the downtown core. The community, I think, is very engaged in this, was very engaged in the whole process and seemed to be quite pleased with this selection of a site. And I think that'll help us because we'll want to do some fundraising, and a community that sees something positive will be a lot easier to open their checkbooks or do some of the work, and we'll tap into those St. George Girl Guides to figure out how to run a good program. We also wanted to take advantage of Paris and the beautiful natural area, the rivers that we have, and the opportunity to create something that we can all be very proud of as a library, but also be functional and beautiful at the same time. And we felt that a central location was most equitable for library users. Paris, I think, is becoming north, south, and middle, and we felt that staying in the middle for a number of reasons was important. So some of the realities of building on a floodplain, and many of you might know this much more than I do, but we know that certain parts of the building would have to be constructed to what they call wet flood-proof standards. The first floor would need to be 9 or 10 feet height, and all those surfaces would have to be hard surface materials, tile, that kind of thing. The costs for that type of work will be approximately 50% higher per square foot for that part of the construction. Obviously, the heating and air conditioning will have to be located on the top floor, and we also identified quickly that it's going to be critical to engage with the Grand River Conservation Authority from the very start of this process. So what happens next? Tonight, we're making this presentation to the County Council. I know our staff and your staff will have continued conversations around budget submissions, all that kind of work starting 2020 budget or beyond. There's partnership agreements we need to hammer out between the county and us, GRCA, and whoever else we might identify that needs to be a partner. Then there's the whole request for proposal process, which takes time and then it has a life of its own. We hope there's more opportunity for public consultation around perhaps the design features of the new facility. And again, we'll look at getting ready for some fundraising to help offset some of the costs of the building. And construction will be when it will be. So that's what we have for you. We're happy to entertain any questions. And again, thank you for your support and encouragement along the way.
Questions of the delegation? Councilor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through to Marilyn, maybe you don't know the answer to this, but what do you guys see as the footprint? How many stories? Any thoughts to that?
Well, we know by building on a floodplain that we'll have to have at least 2 stories, and maybe 3. That was envisioned. One of the consultants, when the consultant did his report, that was one of the concepts they came up with, so that gives us an idea of what we have to do on that first floor. Certainly not books on the first floor. So that presents the opportunities for what can be on that rooftop. Is that where we can do things that will take advantage of the natural area? So that's what we're thinking. 25,000 square feet is what we think we need to do what we need to do.
Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, thank you for that presentation. Gay, thank you very much, and welcome, Kelly. I guess they say timing is everything, because we're talking about the preferred site being the Sillaps Arena, which is, with what potentially could happen there, I think that's a fantastic choice. Building on a floodplain, well, Kelly would know from Waterloo, in uptown Waterloo, the library is actually on the 2nd floor and you park underneath of it. So the possibilities of doing something like that as well could work well in that area. But no, I think it's great, and thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Marilyn and Fred. thank you so very much for taking the time to do this project. It's been a long siege, and I think I've been a burr in your sides, but I'm only representing the people of Paris, and I think you understood that. Gay, also, I'd like to say congratulations on your retirement, and she's had hard work with the library. I would just like to say on behalf of the residents that I spoke to, who were many, thank you for thinking of downtown Paris, because it is a very vibrant area still, and it will be a piece that will keep the community together. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Councillor Wheat.
Just a comment. First of all, there will be another library board meeting before this term is over, but I've been very fortunate to have the privilege of being on the library board ever since I've been on council, which that's now 15 years. And the relationship with Gay and what she has done is second to none. Not only the transition to e-books and all of this stuff, but bear in mind, folks, we also built 2 brand new libraries under Gay's reign. One in Scotland and one in Burford. And now we're looking at Paris. And that's going to happen within the next 4 years. And that's Gay's leadership as our CEO of the library board. And also to Marilyn, because you took a lot of heat for the last 6, 7, 8 months about what you were doing. We've hired consultants at a large sum of money to do things in the county of Brant. And Marilyn, you did it free of charge, and you did a tremendous job, and I thank you. And I was able to keep it a secret, the location, and your retirement a secret, Gay, so I did very, very well.
Thank you, Councillor Wheat.
Well, thank you to Marilyn and Fred for your words tonight. And to Gay and Kelly. Gay, we've not always agreed on everything, but that's humans, and I appreciate the work you have done in the past, as echoed to what Councillor Wheat has said, and we certainly have come a long ways from was, and we look forward, the new council looks forward to working with you, Kelly. We can steal anybody out of Waterloo, more power to us, so thank you very again, appreciate it. Moving on, adoption of the previous minutes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Pierce, that the County of Brant Council minutes of September 25th, October 2nd, and October 10th, 2018 be approved.
Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. I have no business arising from the minutes listed. Does anybody have anything? Seeing none. Consent items. 7A, none. 7B, to be received. Does anybody want anything pulled? Councillor Goward.
Thank you, Councillor Coleman. I don't necessarily have to have it pulled, but 7B1, I just wanted to make a comment, if I might.
Well, why don't we pull it, and then you can make your comment.
Sure. Whatever you
Anybody else?
wish.
All those in favor of everything but from 2 to 7? 6. Approved? Thank you. Councillor Goward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The 7B1, on page 53 of the report from the OPP and our Municipal Policing Bureau, and I wanted to point out that on page 53, our cost per year per property has gone down $70.49, which is good news for Brant. So our bill will not be going up. It was a very lengthy report, and that was near the end, so I just thought I would mention it for all of council. Thank you.
Thank you. So all those in favor of number 1? Thank you. That included received too, didn't it?
Yes, those are all received.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Moving on, committee reports.
Where is the circulation file? There's a few things I want to read.
We've been hiding it.
Thank you.
What do you want to do first?
Whether we should deal with the library delegation.
Yes, sorry. Let's deal with the delegations tonight. Councillor Miller.
I'll move that both be received for information. A and B.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I think it would be preferable from our point of view, if for the library presentation, if it was referred to the process, the three recreation facilities business plan process, because it's now very pertinent to the completion of that process. So I was hoping we could get a direction to do that, and then we can direct the consultant accordingly to take the library's initiative and then finish their process, which has been a bit on hold while the library finished its process.
I'll just amend my motion to receive 4A.
Seconded.
That was the Girl Scouts.
All those in favor of 4A? Thank you. Councilor Miller?
I'll move that the library board presentation be referred back to staff and to be amalgamated or worked in with their review of the 3 rec facilities.
We have a seconder for that? Councilor Pierce? Councilor Goward, question?
Yes. Yes, when it was mentioned earlier, and I attended part of that 3 recreation facility meeting that we had out at the sports complex, and it was very interesting. And when I saw in the presentation the redevelopment of the SILAPs, I guess we need to be brought up to speed on that, because I'm not aware of what is being planned there. I don't know if the rest of council is, or whether this is a proposal that's coming forward in the near future.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Yeah, and what I can report is that process essentially, it went through as Councilor Goward mentioned, there was a public meeting, we had great input, some analysis has been done, but the SILAPS piece has somewhat been on hold pending the completion of the library's initiative. So with the completion of the library's initiative, our consultant can complete their work, and then they will bring a recommendation forward to council on what their work looks like, including a recommendation for SILAPS, the sports complex, and the municipal gymnasium. So right now, I really don't have an update. We're waiting for the consultant's report, and the consultant is waiting for the completion of the library's program, which was running in parallel and could have been contradictory to what our consultant might have brought forward if we hadn't have basically slowed our process down. So hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you. I appreciate that information.
Did we vote on that? Yes. Moving on. Committee reports. 8A, Brant County OPP Detachment Committee.
Thank you. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Pierce, that the Brant County OPP Detachment Committee record of meeting of September 25th be received as information.
Any questions for the chair?
Actually, the mayor's the chair.
I know. But you're giving the report tonight, so. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Community Services Committee report.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Gatward, that the Community Service Committee report of October 1st, 2018 be approved, noting there's 5 recommendations.
Questions of the chair? Seeing none, all those in favor? Community Improvement Plan Committee report.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Schmidt, that the Community Improvement Plan Committee report of October 2, 2018 be approved.
Questions of the chair? Seeing none, all those in favor?
If I'd like to comment, Mr. Chair. If I may.
Certainly.
I hope everyone has seen the new Rexall sign that's been erected. It's wonderful. It looks great. It's very modern. So take a look at it as you go by, front or back. It doesn't matter. So.
Planning Advisory Committee report.
It's moved by myself, seconded by Member Schmidt, that the Planning Advisory Committee report of October 2nd be approved, noting there is 1 item.
Questions of the chair? Seeing none, all those in favor? Public Works Committee. Mr. Vice Chair.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Gatwood, that the Public Works Committee report of October 19th, 2018 be approved, noting that there are 6 recommendations.
Any questions for the Vice Chair? This is your chance to get them. Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Special Planning Advisory Committee minutes.
Moved by myself, second by Member Simons, that the Planning Advisory Committee minutes of October 10th be received as information.
Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Corporate Development Committee report.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Pierce, that the Corporate Development Committee report of October 10, 2018 be approved.
Questions? Councillor Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I just wanted to be clear on it. When the Brant Waterways was in and they did their presentation, we received that as information. Now, within the presentation, there was no ask of any financial or anything like that. So I just want to be clear that, you know, by receiving that as information, we are in fact stating that we do support what it is they're doing. So I just want to confirm that with just the receive that we are in fact supporting what they're doing.
That's what I took it.
That's what I took it as too, but I just want to confirm.
CEO agrees with me. Councillor Goward.
Yes, and that's true, but the monies that were listed in that chart on that report, nothing has been approved yet in budget, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Correct.
So there was no, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, so there's no further action required by us to support that then, at this point, other than when it comes forward. Thank you.
Presume it's going to come to budget.
Right, absolutely. Thank you.
Those things have a way of coming back. Any more questions for Councillor Simons? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. We do have a Canesville report. Councillor Gatward, can you do that?
Sure.
That was a meeting that was held earlier this afternoon.
That the Canesville Community Center Ad Hoc Advisory Committee makes the following recommendation from its meeting on September 17th. That the Canesville Community Center preliminary work plan be deferred for amendment following review of the survey.
No, not quite. Here, Michael.
Yeah, this is the one I've got.
That was from the September 17th meeting.
Should be one there on this meeting tonight.
That's the wrong.
Look on my desk.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, so we'll have to.
We'll have to.
Give me 1 minute, I'm sure I've got it.
Okay, we'll move on and we'll come back to that one. Chairman's quite flexible. No staff reports listed. No information reports that I've got. Communications, 11A, John Noble Home Committee of Management, request for transfer of funds.
I'll declare it pecuniary on that one.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wheat, that the request for the John Noble Home Committee of Management for a transfer of funds being $8,543 from the John Noble Home Capital Reserve for additional costs related to the replacement of the HVAC system be approved.
Questions of the presenter? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. 11B, Brant Community Foundation, request for proclamation of random act of kindness day. Councillor Goward.
It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Miller. Whereas the Brant County Community Foundation, a charity serving Brantford, Brant County, Six Nations of the Grand River, and Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nations, builds community vitality. Whereas November 2nd, 2018 has been earmarked by the Brant Community Foundation as a day to recognize kindness and humanity in our communities. And whereas Brant Community Foundation is committed to encouraging random acts of kindness as a way to touch the lives of another and make our world a better place, that the Council of the County of Brant proclaim November 2nd, 2018 to be Random Act of Kindness Day, and encourage all citizens to embrace kindness and pay acts of kindness forward as a key to achieving a better community.
Question of the presenter? All those in favor? Carried. Councilor Goward, you do have a new report in front of you now, somewhere.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Coleman, that the Painesville Community Ad hoc Committee makes the following recommendation from its meeting on October the 30th, that the Painesville Community Center Feasibility Study Work Plan and Public Consultation Survey be approved with amendments as discussed.
Questions of the presenter? It's your chance. Councilor Simons?
No,
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Chair.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Questions? No questions? No resolutions before us? Other business? No other business. Now we're down to, somebody must have.
It's moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Simons, that the Brant County Council convene in camera to discuss the proposed dispositions of land by the municipality, the Corporate Development Committee report of October 10th, 2018, and a potential litigation matter affecting the municipality. Advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege.
No questions? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Three-minute recess.
Confidential report of October 10th be approved, and the recommendations be presented for consideration in open session. So I'm in open session now.
Right, so now it's the other.
So it's now the following recommendations from the in-camera confidential session of the Corporate Development Committee on October 10, 2018 be approved.
Any questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Bylaws. Mr. Pierce.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Coleman, that the bylaw first reading, the bylaws now from 143:18 to 147:18 be read for a first time.
All those in favor?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Coleman, that the following bylaws now be read a second time and clauses and preambles be adopted, 143:18 to 147:18.
All those in favor? Now is your time for questions. No questions. Proceed.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Coleman, that the following bylaws be now read a third time, passed, signed, and sealed, 143:18 to 147:18.
All those in favor? Carried. Now, as the mayor would say, if he was sitting there, what do you want to do next? We're adjourned.